Kia ora, good morning. So, I'm just documenting a dream I had, and I immediately woke up and saw what the dream meant, and it's helped me put the puzzle pieces together as to what America's doing and why they're doing it. And it also corroborates something that I had been told by God back when I didn't, well, I think back when I thought it was coming from the universal spirit. It's when I was getting ready to be friends with God again, about how they were going to make people lose millions and destroy people's lives overnight by messing with the stock market. I'll put the links and screenshots and that in. I need to get this dream out before I forget, because I've only been awake for about 40 minutes. But the dream was literally, I was in America and I was surrounded by, it was like I was in like a semi-rural town, like, excuse me, I'm drinking coffee. Not in the city, not in the suburbs, but not completely out in the country, because I was surrounded by these massive trees, but they looked like they'd only been planted about 10 years, 15 years. Like they weren't, they were like pine trees in that, but they looked like, that they weren't, they hadn't been standing there for decades. Like it was a new forest, a relatively, new planted forestry area. Sorry, I'm just having a sip. And I came out of this house, not this house, this is a flat. I came out of a house in this dream, and I saw a snake in the garden, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, there's a snake in the garden. And then I came round by the car, and there was more snakes. And then there were so many snakes that in order to avoid the snakes, I had to climb over the fence. And then there were more snakes, and I'm thinking, why are there so many snakes? And in my head thinking, oh, it's because they're getting the sun. They're catching the sun for the warm. It's getting warm. But when it gets too hot, they'll go back into the shadows. So I've just got to wait for the sun to come out. This is what I'm saying in my head. And then when it gets too hot, they'll go away. Now, some of these snakes didn't even notice I was there. Some of these snakes were threatening to bite me, but their mouths would get so far near my ankle and then they wouldn't bite. And I'm telling you now, if they try and cut me off, this is because this involves America and Great Britain. So if they cut me off, it's either Great Britain doing it or America, because they're watching. And this is all pertinent to the dream. But I've figured out why they're doing it. And you have to listen very closely, especially if you're from America and Great Britain, because God's about to kick their asses in a way that is just going to be biblical. He's about to expose them on a way that is going, like, now I understand why America doesn't have a president anymore, and I understand why they end up being done for treason and war crimes and go to The Hague. Like now, because of the snake dream, it all makes perfect sense. All of it makes sense. And they're about to be exposed. Someone's about to expose them. God's about to expose them. And everybody involved is getting taken down in ways that they don't see coming. So while I was avoiding all these snakes, that it's like the more I noticed the snakes, the more snakes appeared. And then in amongst all these snakes that were threatening to bite me but never actually biting me, or like there was one where one fang got stuck, but I knew it wasn't a poisonous, like I wasn't worried about being poisoned. Like I wasn't scared. And then I saw this little kitten on the pavement. It was like a couple of months old, and it was a little fluffy, sort of. It was a ginger and white kitten, but you know that kind of ginger that like it's just ginger. It's not like bright ginger. It's like sort of that blondie ginger. And I thought, oh my God, they've poisoned the kitten. And I picked the kitten up, and like I jumped in amongst the snakes, and I picked the kitten up, and I couldn't tell if because it sort of opened its eyes and lifted its head, but was sleeping in my hands, and I wasn't sure if the kitten had been poisoned or not, or whether it was just sleepy, because they weren't surrounding it. The thing is that most of the snakes in this dream were like pythons. And I picked up the kitten, and I had to run away from the snakes, so I started running down the road. And it was definitely an American style road. I was definitely in America. I ran through the woods, the snakes were there. I ran down the road, and this massive python was chasing me. It was like keeping up with me. And then there was this shop on the right, and I ran into the shop and shut the door, and I was like, oh, thank God we've been saved. And this voice out of nowhere said, don't worry, you're safe in here. We saw everything. No, he goes, don't worry, you're safe in here. We saw what they did. We've called the authorities. And then I woke up. The kitten lifted its head up, and then I woke up. Now, when I woke up, I checked the news, and I saw a couple of things as I was scrolling, because I'm waiting for certain things to happen. First thing, that the Senate or Congress or whoever it is in America, I don't understand how it works, voted not to stop the war. It's also starting to come out that Donald Trump is playing this war to make money to manipulate the stock market. So remember, if I get cut off, you know who's watching. It's also come out that Ed Miliband, who is also on the Epstein list, with Keir Starmer doing bad things to children together on video, is starting to demand that shops have solar panels. Remember the sun in the dream, on their shops, and that they can start selling their energy back to the people, start making money by selling energy back. Now, this is flawed because Britain doesn't get any sun, because remember Keir Starmer and Gates decided to do that whole program where they block the sun. So it's a money laundering thing. But the reason why this is important is because Donald Trump, with the help of Keir Starmer, are manipulating the oil and gas market so that they control the energy. My dream was God saying that Britain, Europe, America, Israel, whoever, put all the snakes in place, ready to take action to mess with the energy. And the reason why, fuel and energy, and the reason why I know this is because they were sitting out in the sun. But I knew that when the sun got too hot, they were all going to scatter for the shadows, which is what I wrote in with a little help from my friends. When Jeb the Goblin King died and the Slime Queen takes over, the Slime Queen does such a bad job at it that everybody flees, and the Slime Queen got turned to stone, and the dwarves came and chipped away at the stone Slime Queen and turned it into gravel to build roads. Which means, because I have to talk metaphorically, right, because I have to write down everything I see, and the messages. So it means that everything I was saying before about how this has been planned for years is starting to get exposed. They were out in the sun. It means that Great Britain and America are about to be exposed and are getting exposed for committing war crimes and genocide against the people of Iran and Palestine and Venezuela and all that in order to control the gas and oil, to mess with the stock market. And the reason why Congress or the Senate or whoever voted no to stop the war is because they're all making money from the stock market. They're all making money off it. Reports are starting to come out that a lot of these congressmen and women were buying shares in energy companies and all that, and it's why they're targeting all the gas and oil pipelines in the countries that control them, like Russia and the Middle East. And the countries that are helping America and Great Britain and Israel, because remember, fake Bibi, we know he's dead. It's all been revealed that he's dead. Like, we know he's dead. Every appearance that he has shows that he's either AI or, masked. Like, he's been exposed. Trump is trying to pretend like he's got this, that he's in control, but he's losing his mind. Which was, when the snake went to bite me and its fang got stuck. I've been poisoned, and in my becoming spellbound dream, the Queen popped up and said to Prince Rupert, "Asp, don't drink the poison, otherwise it's going to kill you." So, snakes in dreams obviously represent surveillance, undercover operations, treachery, tyranny, fake friendships. Most of them were pythons, so these are people that work slowly, like geez, I can't remember. What's that group that they all belong to? The wolf in sheep's clothing one. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think. I'm sorry. I'm still dealing with short-term memory loss. You know that group that they all belong to? Starmer and like all of them. Clinton, Obama, they all belong to it. Oh, but their logo is literally a wolf in sheep's clothing, and their ethos is work so slowly that people don't realise that they're trying to take over civilization. That's their whole thing. Destroy Christianity, which is happening. Destroy the family unit, which is happening. Like, remove the father from the picture, that sort of thing. Remove the main parent from the picture, so the children have to be under the watch of the government and all that. Oh my God, I talk about it all the time and my brain can't think, because that part's not as important. I'll put you know what I'm talking about. So some of them were chasing me and coming after me, which we know because I'm shadow banned. I've lost I've lost 2 Facebooks. I've lost an Instagram because they don't like what I'm saying. People like von der Leyen are getting people's posts taken down who are arguing about the climate change lie, and they're losing their accounts and being forced to take posts down in countries where the EU has no control. So, like Australia and all of that, because they put all of these snakes in place ready to work together in order to destroy America first. Their whole plan was to destroy America first, and now it's reached all the way to Australia, and it's in the UK now. Now, they've already opened up the Strait of Hormuz, and yet Britain still sent warships just in case. They're letting people through. Donald Trump has said that he will stop the war if countries pay him trillions, which means this is a war for profit. It's everything that I've been saying for all of these years, and the Democrats and the Republicans have all had it planned in advance because they were all going to make money from it. And this whole pushing the net zero thing is because they knew years in advance, under the lie of climate change, that they were going to be forcing a fuel crisis that would last like a few years, and because of damaged gas pipelines and, you know, damaged oil refineries and all that sort of thing. So rely on solar while we rebuild the gas pipelines, and then you can buy it all from us. Buy the oil and gas from us, and then we can control the prices and mess with the stock market. The Rothschilds Bank is now under investigation, and the Rothschilds has connections to Macron and von der Leyen in the EU and Epstein and that. And all of this rhetoric of these American politicians saying stop the war, rah rah rah. It was all a lie, because when they had the chance to stop the war, they all voted no. It was like 50 something to 40 something. So it was all to give Americans a sense of false security. He's already putting boots on the ground, which means they have no interest in stopping the war until they can destroy all the gas and oil. Then they can control it. And then, as Netanyahu, fake Netanyahu said in his own words, then we'll take over. And then you can buy all the gas and oil from us. But first we have to destroy Venezuela, Russia and Iran in the Middle East. That's why they're going after all the oil and energy and all of that. They're also targeting places where they would then be able to replace it with AI. But the thing is, people are starting to turn their back on AI, and it's my mango dream. The AI robots and that were all drowning in the water, and the money was all, American dollars was all in the water turning to mush, and America was on fire, which means it's all going to backfire on them, because when I got into the shop, the voice said, don't worry, you're safe here, meaning God saying, don't worry, you're safe. We saw what they were doing. We saw what they are doing. We saw what they are doing, meaning we're watching. We know what they're doing. We already clocked it, because the thing was, there were a ton of cars in the stream. That's what I forgot to mention. I was having to climb over a lot of cars and hide behind cars and run behind cars, which means petrol and oil. They were older cars too, so petrol and oil. These weren't electric vehicles, these were like older cars. So the dream was, what God was saying in the dream is that the snakes were all put in place, and they were sitting and waiting to catch the sun. But in the dream, I was saying, when this gets too hot, they're going to scatter, which means when that voice said, we know what we're doing, we called the authorities, it means they're all about to be exposed. And the ones that were like sleeper snakes, sleeper cell, are going to scatter, because they know what's coming once they all get exposed, and the rest of them are going to get caught. And this is going to be why, when this is over, he's the last president and America has a conglomerate, because they will not be able to trust their senators or Congress ever again. It's going to completely dismantle the way America is controlled. And then everybody else that was trying to push the climate lie, the sun, they're all going to get done for, because they're killing people to control the gas and oil. Hundreds of thousands of people have been slaughtered so that a handful of people could control the gas and oil, and God's about to pull the veil back and expose the truth about everything they've been up to, because it's been planned for years. They've all been planning this for years. And with the help of the EU, von der Leyen, especially, all the people pushing the net zero bullshit, they're all about to be exposed, and they're all about to be done. And now it's like, now I understand why so many of them ended up being rounded up in military trucks and taken to military court. The kitten, I think, is, see, cats in dreams usually represent friends, specifically female friends, but not exclusively. But usually when you dream about cats, it means female friends, but not exclusively. And me worried about this kitten, wondering whether this kitten was going to be safe. And so I picked it up and I ran to get help. And that's when I walked into this store and the voice spoke. Don't worry, you're safe here. We see what they're doing. We've called the authorities. And that's when the snake scattered because the sun got too hot. And the sun is mother. That's me. I'm Queen Light of the Sun. So I've either exposed something or am exposing something that's going to get a lot of people in trouble. The knock-on effect is going to be that the bigger snakes that were chasing me and trying to bite me are going to get caught, and everybody else is going to scatter, which is exactly what my dream was, what I call the hairdryer dream, where the tracer bullets were coming out of the clouds and striking people, and all of these people in America were scattering to the four corners, like hiding in places like Maine and Maryland and that. So I don't know what God has planned, but something's coming out where it's all about to be exposed. That net zero is a lie, climate change is a lie, the wars and, the whole Palestine, Russia, Iran, targeting the Middle East since Iraq, 9/11 and all that was all a lie, just so that a handful of people, the coalition of Epstein's, the Epstein cult, could have control of the natural resources to control the population. But it's not going to go according to plan. That's what that voice was basically saying, and that they're all going to end up at The Hague for war crimes because they've literally started wars and killed innocent people just for fossil fuels. And they're all in on it together, and they've just been exposed. And they're all making money off it on the stock market, which is treason, it's insider trading. They passed laws that people in Congress weren't allowed to make money off the stock market after the whole Pelosi thing, but clearly they still are. This whole thing since 9/11, between 9/11 and now, has all been staged. The Fabian Society, that's it. Because they're all in the Fabian Society. And it's all to line their own pockets. Keir Starmer's got 25 million sitting there, and he's a Prime Minister. He's got millions hiding in offshore accounts, as does Trump's got billions in the all banks and banks connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And remember I said it was going to start in America, get to Australia, and come all the way, end in the UK. Well, the snakes have just reached Australia. So now Australia's been exposed for their part in the plot, which means that every single thing that I said, that I uncovered, is 100% spot on. And people are starting to turn their backs on AI. They're bringing in digital price tags in stores, which means these stores are going to shut down because people won't want to deal with them. But it means that mum and pop stores will start opening up again. People will spend their money with mum and pop stores because nobody is going to want it. Like, people are starting to turn their back on OpenAI and AI and Grok and all that, which is my mango dream. So when you dream about a shop, and this shop was like a general store, like one of those old kind of general stores that they used to have in the 50s and 60s in America, where, they'd have tin food and fresh fruit and bread and all of that. When you have a dream about a store like that, not a supermarket, this was a general store, like a mum and pop store. It means not only turning back to the old ways, but having options and selections. There've been there've been options and selections, like better options, better selections. When you dream of buildings, in your dream it represents you and how you see yourself at the time of the dream. I was taking the kitten to the shop where the voice, the man's voice, because I couldn't see a person, I just heard the voice, said, "Don't worry, you're safe here." We see what they're doing, we called the authorities. So it means that um, America, like the world is, well, I mean, it was in America, so I have to say America first, obviously, but God's onto it. God's on it. They're all about to be exposed. They're all about to be held accountable in courts of law. It's going to have a knock-on effect to all the other snakes involved, and most of them are going to try and get as far away from this as they can, because they know that once this goes to court, a lot of them are going to swing from ropes. They're going to lose everything. Trump being the slime queen being turned to stone and being chipped away at, is everything that he is being torn apart and used to help rebuild America. Him being destroyed, his career, his reputation, his life, everything being destroyed, and everything that he built within the Shadowlands being destroyed. Remember, snakes live in the shadows. Is going to be used to help rebuild America. But Jeb the Goblin King and the Slime Queen will never, ever, ever happen again, because they were the wake-up call for the world that them and the rest of the snakes can never, ever happen again. There will be rules and laws put in place for these people to be made immediately accountable, should any of them rise to power again. Since 9/11, they have killed hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people, innocent people, veterans, soldiers, civilians, children, animals, chopped down trees, plant life, human life, animal life, just so that a handful of people could control electricity, gas and oil. Because when they control that, they control the world. And God's saying, not on my watch. You're all being exposed. And it is all starting to come out. But what America needs to realise is that with Congress or the Senate, whoever it is, voting no to end the war, it's because they're all making money off it. Like Lindsey Graham with Ukraine. They're all making money, every single one of them. And I've been saying from day one, the Democrats and Republicans are both on the same side. And that when you see them fighting against each other, it's all a lie. Because if they really meant it, the people who had the power to do something would change it. But they're not. There's people in power who can get von der Leyen out of power, who can get Keir Starmer out of power, who can get Albanese out of power, but they're not doing it because they're all in on it. But let's blame Russia. Let's blame Iran. But nobody's falling for it now, because the truth is all starting to come out. And now everything I've been saying finally makes sense. Net zero and the climate change scam is all a lie, because they knew that they were going to be bombing all the oil and gas pipelines around the world, so that they could have everything into position in order to control people's energy. the Netherlands, you're not going to be allowed to own cars anymore. And people are complaining, but it's like, we'll do something about it. But they're not. So it's like, well, it's people like me having to do something about it. The lone wolf, having to put everything out there and risk getting bitten by the snakes that follow my every move, because remember, it was chasing me down the road. The kitten, I think, is the friend that I just made contact with again. She's in America. I'm worried about her future because she's young. You know, she's just graduated college. From what I can gather, she's graduated college because she was just talking about having clients from San Diego, I might add. Remember the Diego? We were trying to figure out what Diego was, but snakes and dreams represent hidden dangers, sleeper cells, covert operations, undercover. They shed their skin. It's not all bad, you know. Not snakes aren't all bad, you know. They rule observation. They rule patience. They rule, like strategy, and sneak attacks, striking when the time is right, which is can be a good or a bad thing. But in this case, it's sleeper cells, covert operations, things being put into position, ready to strike when the order is given. Controlling the sun, controlling gas and oil, that's why all the snakes have been put in place. So basically everyone in power since just before 9/11 have all been waiting for this moment where they can take over the world's gas and oil and energy. But according to that voice, it's not going to go according to plan, and they're all going to get rounded up. And the world's turning its back on AI. So things aren't going according to plan. So Trump's about to be exposed. And the thing is, I had said the other day, why turn to stone? And I said, maybe it's a Medusa thing. You know, when you look at Medusa, the snakes turn you to stone, which means freezing in fear, maybe. Like, holy shit, I've been caught out freezing in fear, because either, what did I say, the snake's turning on him or the snake's turning in his direction. Because Medusa is a goddess, so being bitten by the truth, being stung by the truth, being bitten, getting a taste of their own venom, the surveillance, the truth, turning back on him and making him freeze in fear. Holy shit, what have I done? And then the dwarves came along and chipped away at him. And that's already starting to happen. There are military people, like people refusing to go to war. There are people that are choosing to pay the consequences for being conscientious objectors and going AWOL in that, rather than go to war, because they know that they're not going to win it. But now it's all slowly starting to come out that this was a war just to make money so that they could control the stock market and the gas and pipelines. And countries like Great Britain and Japan, all these countries who are helping them do it, they're all going to go down together. And these people are going to be taken to court. Now it all makes sense. I know the kitten was fine. I'm pretty sure it was sleeping, because when I woke up after I checked the news, I saw there was a message from my friend And she would have been in bed sleeping when I messaged her back and she started talking. She would have woken up, I think, to message me. So she was talking about the accuracy of my dream. Oh, the accuracy of my reading. So the sleepy kitten, and being worried about the sleepy kitten. But I saved it. So the fact that it was a general store and buildings and dreams are how you see yourself at the time. It's like I have options. There's so many things that I can do with my future. There's so many things that I can that I'm going to be able to offer the world through my foundation. There's so many avenues and revenues to make money from this in order to be able to help the general public, i.e., why it was a general store. But that on a wider perspective, because God, the voice of God, was inside the store, is God saying to America and the rest of the world, there's a lot of ways that we're going to be able to get you all out of this. We're on it. When the time is right, the appropriate authorities are going to turn up and deal with it. But they had to be exposed. It's everything I've been saying. This had to happen so that the evil people of the world could be exposed for when they're all rounded up and taken to criminal court. And unfortunately, that may even include the king, because he's not doing anything. And I can only do so much. And I love him, but I'm not the king. So when Great Britain gets torn down by the people, because remember last year in that message, Trump and his administration get torn down from the inside out, and then the people of Great Britain revolt. And if that includes what did God say, he can either stand by the people or stand by his government. And if he stands by the people, Great Britain gets to be rebuilt. And if he doesn't, the Commonwealth is going to get torn, become all independent, and all the corrupt politicians will be held for treason and war crimes. But he'll be the last king. If he doesn't stand by the people now during Starmer's reign of terror, King Charles will be the last king. Which is what they wanted to happen, but they expected Starmer to stay in power, but it's not going to happen because they're all being exposed. So it's everything I said, it's everything I've been dreaming. They've literally been killing innocent people just so that they can control the gas and oil. So they targeted Russia for no reason other than gas and oil. Away in the children to get their hands on the kids. And this forcing the climate change lie and going after people who deny climate change, including the scientists themselves, even in countries where the EU have no control. And the whole net zero thing was all part of the plan. It's also to hide the money they're stealing and making from these fake wars. And because Trump and that can't shut their mouths, Hegseth has just admitted that America's government and our terrorists. So they're all exposing themselves, which is another reason why the snakes were under the sun. It started out with like a snake, And then there were snakes everywhere. And then there was the one that tried to bite me and the one that chased me down the road, which means one truth will spiral into another, because you know snakes shed their skin and they get bigger and bigger the more they shed. So one truth exposed, exposing another truth, another truth, another truth, another truth, where the lies getting exposed are bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger lies being exposed to truth, exposing more and more and more and more, while I'm trying to protect the innocent, the kitten, while being chased, under attack, you know, shadow banned. They switched my phone off. They're trying to come after me. And the one that got the fang in my ankle, because remember I got poisoned at the end of November. They tried to poison me. They tried to get me, but it didn't work. It failed. I wasn't worried. So the threat of being poisoned, like me being under threat, them constantly threatening me. If you don't play by our rules, we're going to keep bombing, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You know, constantly trying to prove God wrong, which is the Fabian Society. And anyone who stands against God will be crushed by him, and it's coming. And unfortunately, that might even include the king. I can't, there's nothing more I can do with him. The ships, Starmer sent the ships, and the ships are about to go down, and I'm desperately trying to stop the king from going down with the ship. But God has already warned Starmer about what was going to happen with that red dragon, because it's in the Bible. About the Leviathan, the snake, the water snake. It's all there. I put it all out there. Trump and Starmer keep pushing it with God, and I think God's about to drop a truth bomb on them that blows them out of the water. I'm just hoping and praying it doesn't affect any innocent people. But I have a feeling it's going to be, because civil war's about to break out in Great Britain and America, because that's pretty much what that message was last year. The end of days, prepare for his arrival. That angel of the phoenix appearing over the aurora borealis was a message to the world that the second coming for Christians. And in that message, end of days, God said that America and Great Britain were going to, that Trump was going to get torn down from the inside out. So from his administration outwards, it'll start from inside the White House and spread out to the people, and they'll all work together to take him down. But with Keir Starmer and the king, if he doesn't listen, civil war. People are going to take to the streets, cars on fire, buildings smashed, rioting, while they all head to Downing Street and possibly the palace. And they're not going to give a shit about the police or the military, because they'll end up helping the people. Because otherwise, the cops and the military will go down when the dust settles, because it will be treason. Because there's high treason and there's petty treason. And petty treason is anyone who swears an oath to work as civil servants for the people. So that's cops, doctors, lawyers, the military, and they'll be done for petty treason. Anyone who works for the government whose job it is to work, because, yeah, any job that's considered a civil servant job is a job where they swear an oath to work on behalf of the people for the people. So government jobs, civil service jobs, that's nurses, doctors, cops, the military, lawyers, the press, all of that. And I've already had that dream. No taxation without representation dream. Where it was talking about civil servants in Great Britain being done for petty treason. Interestingly, Tony Blair removed the death penalty out of the law for anyone done for treason because he knew that if they got caught after the whole 9/11 thing, they could hang for what they're doing. But what he doesn't realise is when the government's torn down, they're going to bring the death penalty back because he has no power now, and Starmer will have no power, and they will bring the death penalty back just to deal with these people. Because with no king in place and no prime minister in place, with it all being torn down, martial law. Well, not martial law, militia. The militia takeover. And it's their responsibility to make sure that the government and the king abide by the laws of the people. God's law and nature's law. I call it natural law. So if the king doesn't do the right thing by the people are going to throw him off the throne. And they'll it's everything I said in my message. He can either go this way or he can go that way. But for Great Britain, because remember it's in my 2007 dream, the London Calling, with the people rioting and the streets, cars on fire, buildings smashed, all of that, it's coming. It's like all my dreams are now starting to align up since especially now that I've had that snake dream. All the lies are starting to be exposed, and they will hang. What they've been doing to us is now going to be done to them. Because people like me, we're the only ones doing something about it. When this would have been over and done with a lot faster if people had listened to me in the first place and just done what I'd said they needed to do. Petition the king, impeach Starmer and his government. There is a law. You can impeach Starmer and his government. But they don't. They just sit and complain. So it's like, well, I'm one person. I can only do so much. I can warn you and 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 warn you. But if you get bitten by the snake, after me repeatedly warning you since 2016 that this was all coming, since Starmer got in power and figuring out the whole 9/11 COVID lie, net zero climate change lie, blah, 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 if I've warned you and you've done nothing, even though I'm shadow banned, I know there's some people that are listening to what I'm saying because people are listening to me enough that they're copying everything I'm doing. But they could be helping as well, but they're not. So it's like, well, go down with the ship then. You're allowing it. If you didn't allow it anymore, we wouldn't be in this position. Because I'm one person, and I've had to fight them all off for 10 years. Because trust me, if they had their way, I'd be dead by now 4 times dead. But I work for God, and He keeps saying, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Because it's nearly over, and we're on this, we see what's going on, and these people are going to be held accountable. Just keep running, Debbie, keep running. Run with the kitten. Save the innocent. Run with the kitten. Keep running because we're on it. We, he said we, which means it'll be all the gods like God, Allah, Japan's gods, the Judean gods, all of them, all of their gods, pagan gods for Zelensky, like Odin and all that. They said we. So now they're going to have to deal with a legion of gods. And they've all been exposed. So I'm going to go and have my coffee now. But I'll put those links in the description box to show you that. I'll also put them on my post to show about what I was told about them messing with the stock markets. And you know the mango dream. You all know the mango dream and the hairdryer dream. It's everything I said. So I'll speak to you later. Just hang in there a little bit longer. It's nearly over. They're all about to get done. Ka kite anō.